I'm Heather Taylor, Realtor with Coldwell Banker Wallace & Wallace Realtors, and this is Real Estate Real Advice. On this episode, we'll talk about safety hazards and things that could happen in your home, as well as 3 things that every homeowner should know.
So the main things you need to know here is the 3 valves or shutoffs that you need to know in the house. And that's going to be your gas meter, if you do have one, your electric shutoff, and then your main water shutoff valve. And on this one is a propane tank. And what it is it's right underneath this cover here. And if you ever have any kind of issues with gas leaks or anything like that, you'll want to go and turn your gas shutoff valve off. Another good rule of thumb too is if you walk into a house and you smell any kind of signs of gas, you need to exit that house immediately and call the utility company for them to come out and evaluate the situation. So another important shutoff in your house is the electrical panel. And if you see up above this panel here, there's a disconnect at the top here, and that will cut your entire power off to the house. In case of an emergency situation or a house fire, is always a good idea to cut the power off if there is a fire in the house. Another good idea is to have all your breakers labeled so that you know exactly what they go to in case of another emergency situation. You can just turn that appliance off or whatever it might be. The other thing that you need to think about too is if your panel is outside, a lot of people try to put locks on them. And I know that you maybe feel a little safer that way, but again, in an emergency situation, if you need to get to that panel quickly, you may not have that key or that combination to it, whether the fire department gets there or if it's you looking for it. So we never recommend that you put a lock on your exterior electrical panels. So one of the main 3 important shutoffs in your house is your water. And finding that sometimes can be a little tricky. So it's always good to know where it's at before the problem does happen. So here we see a picture here, and behind it is the water shutoff valve here. Easy to turn off and on. A lot of them are just quarter turns is all you need to do to turn it off, and then just to turn it back on. The thing about this is when you do have a water leak in the house, of course you want to know where this is at so that you can locate it and turn it off quickly. The other thing you want to think about too is if you're going to be on vacation or gone from the house for a long period of time, it's always a good idea to turn this valve off when you leave the house. One is if there is a leak when you're gone, the water's turned off and it's not going to flood your house. 2, if your water heater leaks or anything like that, it can hold a substantial amount of water, and it's always good to have that turned off when you're gone for long periods of time.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. Feel free to like, follow, and share. And this is Real Estate Real Advice.